Good afternoon. We've got troops that are coming on the southern border, and you might want to know about it. And something else is actually happening in the world. A lot of cybersecurity updates. You got this young man that is sitting at the top in this Pentagon Press Briefing, straight out of high school. We want to listen to the general, the Pentagon Press Secretary Pat Ryder right now, because we've got troops coming on the southern border, U.S. troops. And if you hadn't seen the news, which it just happened around an hour or so ago, let me show you something. Let me get to like U.S. troops on the border. U.S. troops. Look at this. Pentagon confirms they're going to send 1,500 active duty troops to the Mexico border to help with the surge of migrants. They'll confirm the deployment of active duty troops. They're going to put them there, I think, on the 10th is what they're going to doing. Temporarily doing it because something's going to, stop. And why the U.S. president send troops abroad? Okay. Oh, this is what's going to end. Title 42 is going to end, and the Homeland Security needs to seal the border or something. So if you're just tuning in, and I hope you can hear me. I got to see if I can hear myself, you all. But that's one thing. But the cybersecurity event that's happening, that's another thing. Hello, Heather, honey. Yeah. But the cybersecurity event, I'm sure that we're not going to get no notification going out for this, but we're going to listen to what he is saying. I've got to get it over there to Pat Ryder, General Pat Ryder at the Pentagon Press Briefing. Let me come over here. I'll have to mute myself while I go over here so we can catch him on the audio because it's going to echo. I'm sure it's probably echoing on your end. Not yet. It ain't echoing yet. We got it. Okay, we got it. So he's serious. There's something going on in the world. He's given his little briefing and
everyone.
Such.
Just a few items to pass along at the top, and then we'll get right to your questions. As some of you may be aware, the Department of Defense released a statement earlier today regarding support to the Department of Homeland Security, which I'll reiterate here from the podium. At the request of the Department of Homeland Security, Secretary Austin approved a temporary Department of Defense increase of an additional 1,500 military personnel to supplement U.S. Customs and Border Protection efforts on the U.S. southwest border. For 90 days.
You will.
These 1,500 military personnel who will be sourced from the active duty component will fill critical capability gaps such as ground-based detection and monitoring, data entry, and warehouse support until CPB can address these needs through contracted support. Military personnel will not directly participate in law enforcement activities. It's important to note that the department is also evaluating options on how we might replace these deploying forces in stride with other sources to include potentially forces from the reserve component and contracted support. And while this request is for 90 days, I would point out that DoD has supported DHS on the southwest border for 18 of the last 22 years and every year since 2006. Shifting gears, the Department of Defense through U.S. Africa Command remains committed to supporting the Department of State's efforts in Sudan. Over this past weekend, this support involved organizing and synchronizing transportation from Khartoum to Port Sudan and on to Saudi Arabia for U.S. citizens and others who wished to depart Sudan. Today, the USNS Brunswick, along with the USS Truxtun and USS Polar, remain in the vicinity of Port Sudan and are able to provide support to the evacuation mission as needed. Additionally, ISR assets
If you're just tuning in, he's talking about sending U.S. troops onto the southern border because Title 42 is going to end. Let's see if we can do a window capture, you all. I want to see if we can do one. No, I don't want to. So if you're just tuning in, I want you to hear just a little bit of what he has to say, and then we're going to jump over to the cybersecurity event that's also happening with these other big generals from all over the United States. Okay, because that really is even bigger than this right here. Happy Tuesday, you all. So if we can do that, I want to make sure I can get over there. And I've got to mute myself when I go over there because I don't want the echo going on. I don't. So I'm going to mute myself.
Overwatch over potential liberation agreement sites play an absolutely vital role in securing our nation. In fact, more than 70% of the U.S. defense industrial base is made up of manufacturing companies with 20 or fewer employees. The department released a new small business strategy in February of chopped military support.
Thanks, Pat. Can you say when you expect these troops to arrive at the border, even in a range of days in the coming week, or presumably by May 11th? Would that be accurate? Do you expect these will be active duty troops, or are you going to try to have to pull some from the Guard? And third, in the past, DoD requested that DHS provide quarterly reports.
You said it's hard to hear.
Would that be accurate? Do you expect these will be active duty troops, or are you going to try to have to pull some from the Guard? And third, in the past, DoD requested that DHS provide quarterly reports updating as to when and how DHS was going to be able to take over these jobs on the border. Is DoD getting these quarterly updates, and is the department confident or concerned that DHS will or won't be able to meet this requirement by the end of the fiscal year?
Yeah, thanks, Lita. So on your first question, right now I think we'll see these troops arrive as early as May 10th, and then in the coming weeks. Again, these will be active duty forces. Although, as I mentioned at the top, we continue to explore other options so that we could return those active duty forces back to their home stations in stride with potentially reserve component or contracted entities. Again, that's work that we'll continue to do. As far as quarterly reports, I'll have to take that question for you. I can tell you that, as a matter of course, we do regularly communicate with DHS. And I think, again, we're in a situation here where DHS has requested assistance, and the Department of Defense is assisting on this important issue. So, thank you.
Is it, are you saying, just for clarification, that within this 90-day period,
Correct.
You would like to replace, or you will look at replacing some of these active duty troops with National Guard or Reserve, or potentially beyond that?
Exactly. So within that 90-day period, again, Secretary Austin has approved the deployment of 1,500 active duty troops, but again, we are looking and evaluating options should we be able to replace those in stride. Okay, Jen, and then we'll go to Will.
Thank you, General Ryder. So just which units will these troops be coming from, and will they be helping with drug enforcement? Because that's what the original executive order from the president said.
Yeah, so in terms of the types of work that they'll be doing, as I highlighted at the top, these will be very much focused on support tasks to CBP. So no, and I'll just leave it at that. I mean what I said. In terms of the specific units, these forces will come from the Army and the U.S. Marine Corps, but I'd refer you to the services to talk about specific units that will be tasked.
In 2018, just before the midterm elections, President Trump ordered 5,200 U.S. troops to fortify the border. At the time, Democrats and former military officials and officers came out against that, saying they were being used for political reasons. How is this different?
Yeah, so, really my focus here is on talking about what we've been asked to do and what we're doing. Clearly, DHS felt that there was a need for the Department of Defense to assist so that they can continue to do their important work. Secretary Austin approved that request, and so that's what we're focused on.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, Will.
Thank you. Two questions on the border. What is the current who were there prior to the 1,500 being deployed, and what necessitated this additional deployment now? Was it the changes on May 11th that are coming up, or is there any other reason regarding it?
Yeah, that's correct. So, in light of the changes on May 11th and the anticipated surge, DHS did reach out and request this support. In terms of the number of U.S. military that are there now, there are approximately 2,500 U.S. military who are National Guard forces. They are focused, again, on supporting CBP with detection and monitoring and aviation support. Tony?
A couple non-border questions. Ukraine.
So they're moving troops to the border on May the 10th. Now I want to hop over here to the cybersecurity. I want you to look at this 1, 2, 3-star general up here. What he has to say about the cybersecurity. What is going on? Why is this young man up here? Why is he up here at this event? He's a high schooler. This is, if you didn't know this is going on, they're outlining their strategy. So let's look at this shoe off. We even have the cyber, they have a cybers, look at this. Cybercom official speaking, and you have another general delivering. This guy right here, I want you all to look at, because I've never seen him before, and they're talking cybersecurity. This is Air Force Lieutenant General Robert J. Skinner, Director of the Defense Information System Agency, DISA, Commander of the Joint Force Headquarters Defense Department Information Network, speaking at the Armed Forces Communication Electronic Association TechNet Cyber 2023 conference. Just look at him, because I've never seen him before. I'm going to have to mute myself so we can listen to him. So that's what I want you all to know. I got to mute myself. And oopsie, I'm going to mute myself. Let me do this. And I want you to hear this, because watch him, you all. Watch his movements and stuff. We've never seen him before, ever. You might have, but I haven't. I'm going on mute now.
Good afternoon. I hope.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and fellow colleagues, I'm honored to be here today to operating joint, interoperable command and control capabilities while defending our enterprise infrastructure in more than 42 countries. By the way, everything up to this point in my speech was generated.
Who looked at the answers, and they came away with saying approximately 80% harness that and can understand how to best leverage it, but also how to best to protect against it, are going to be the ones that have the high ground. I read an article the other day, in fact it was yesterday morning. Johns Hopkins, don't quote me on that, I think it was Johns Hopkins, did a study, and they had 200 questions asking for medical advice, and they put it into generative AI, and then they had a panel of medical experts who looked at the answers, and they came away with saying approximately 80% of those answers were better than what you would get from a medical professional. So think about that. And that's just in the medical profession. Think of the legal profession.
Eighty percent of the questions that are asked by a panel of legal experts and AI was better than the humans. He's talking about artificial intelligence. You want to listen to this, I promise you, you really do. I'm going to mute myself again.
An article the other day, in fact, it was yesterday morning. Johns Hopkins, don't quote me on that, I think it was Johns Hopkins, did a study, and they had 200 questions asking for medical advice, and they put it into generative AI, and then they had a panel of medical experts who looked at the answers, and they came away with saying approximately 80% of those answers were better than what you would get from a medical professional. So think about that. And that's just in the medical profession. Think of the legal profession. We in this room are thinking about how this applies to cybersecurity. How does it apply to intelligence? How does it apply to our warfighting capabilities? And that's where we really need industry's help to help us understand faster and better than the adversary how this capability can be leveraged. I would offer initially, it's probably not really going to help those high-end adversaries, right? Because they're already high-end. This is going to help a whole bunch of other individuals to get up to that level in a much faster manner. So how do we have the protective systems, the security, and the network capabilities to support protecting that data and support our folks? Okay, AFCEA East. I love that. And I'll tell you, hats off to AFCEA International, Sue Lawrence, General Fredenberg, and the whole team. A year ago, we all sat down and said, how can we make this better? And you make it better with firepower. Having General Nakasone this morning, having Mr. Sherman tomorrow, and having this, again, I love the AFCEA East. Bring everybody together. The highest number of registrants before this year was 5,700, and that was pre-COVID. We have surpassed that. So thanks to industry, thanks to everyone here, and as General Lawrence said this morning, the boost, it's just, the exhibit hall is bursting at the seams. So I hope everyone is able to get out, see the latest, greatest technology as we go forward. A couple things that I want to talk about today. Well, how do we have continuous assessments?
Good afternoon, and thank you, General Skinner. Most everyone in the audience can relate to moving, some more frequently than others. I know in our household we move about every 1 to 2 years, and after we find a place to live, one of those first things that we do is set up our home network. Get our internet connection established, get the router, firewall, security settings, just get the home network set up with all your devices online, especially for my 11-year-old. Some homes have everything, computers, phones, hooked up, as well as refrigerators and security alarms. Everything is connected. A simple change to a device can change the network and have far-reaching effects and impact everything else in that home network. It could be a simple misconfiguration, a seemingly innocent click on an email someone sent you, or some hacker trying to get in. Adversaries and malicious actors continually seek to compromise DoD's cyber terrain and put military operations and information at risk. They just need to find a way in to have the potential to compromise not just one device, but all it connects to. And on the DODIN, that means the other 15,000 interconnected networks impact to 3 million users. And unlike other domains, cyberspace is not constrained to geographic boundaries. We need to be on top of our game and focus on cybersecurity all the time. There is no time off when it comes to defending our networks. This is where JFHQ DODIN's mission to secure, operate, and defend the DODIN comes in to set the globe. So what does that mean exactly? To enable actively competing and building resiliency to strengthen our cybersecurity posture.
Are in the chute right now, working its way through to take full advantage and leverage this capability. Ryan MacArthur and Ms. Woods and team have done an amazing job of working with the services, working with the combatant commands, working with the agencies to determine how best to leverage this contract capability. But I would offer it's even more than a contract. There are so many things that are happening around cloud that it's just not hosted compute. They're putting, infrastructure as code around this to where we've had like 29 instances of organizations leveraging our infrastructure as code, which is saving approximately $500,000 an instance that it's already taken care of. The templates are already there, and we're getting them up and leveraging cloud that much faster. We have a DevSecOps capability called Vulcan that is enabling those who need a DevSecOps environment to come use it and take full advantage of everything that it offers to get capabilities out. We have C2SF, which is where we're taking our command and control capabilities, running it through DevSecOps so that it's not every 2 years or every 3 years, that we're having improvements done on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. Robotics process automation. I mean, I was talking to Steve Wallace, so if there's any questions technically, Steve Wallace knows that I'm going to point to him wherever he's at, so he can't get away. 50 bots that we're using, which is saving hundreds and thousands of hours. And we got 219 that we've identified to go after, to continually improve our automation and the things that we are doing. It's just amazing work by the team. And you cannot have a discussion without talking zero trust, right? We talked that earlier. Thunderdome, right? We had the pilot that we just completed a few months ago. Jason Martin and team are working through the acquisition strategy to be able to go full production here in the next 30, 60 days. That's what I put on him. We'll see how that goes. But Thunderdome is more than just that pilot, though, right? I know it's SD-WAN, I know it's SASE, and a few other capabilities, but under our Thunderdome umbrella, it is a lot more than that. It's what's happening at the client. It's what's happening in the data analytics. Looking across the entirety of what Zero Trust brings in those 7 pillars or 5, depending on which one you subscribe to. Out of the 153-ish key activities identified in the DoD Zero Trust strategy, we're at like 123, I think it is, ish. 123 of those of what DISA is offering as a capability, which is huge. And we are working hand in hand with the services because we're all coalescing around the same ConOps, we're all coalescing around the same technology, all coalescing around the same processes. And so we have a lot of momentum within the department in driving forward to reach or to get towards the DoD CIO's mantra of 2020 Zero Trust in 2027 and along that journey. So a lot of great work. But I would offer the foundation of Zero Trust is identity management and what we call our GFUD capability. And that's where I would like to call contestant number 2 to the stage, Gabe Solomon. Okay, this is an individual straight out of high school, came to DISA, can't even have a beverage of choice unless it's milk, been with the agency just a little bit, and this is the person who is running Global Directory for the department. So I'll let him talk at the risk of somebody trying to steal him from me. So industry, hands off, and the rest of the department, hands off. Okay, go ahead, Gabe.
Hello everyone, my name is Gabe and I'm a cloud engineer with the DISA Hosting and Compute Center. Today, I'm excited to share with you some of the new capabilities that we've been developing. Now, before we get into any technical details, I want to introduce you to Nick, dog up here. Nick is an active duty military working dog and has been the mascot for Global Directory, also known as GFUD. Now, although I could talk about Nick for forever up here, I'm here to talk about something just as fascinating, which is GFUD. But before we start, let me ask you a few questions. Wouldn't it be cool if you got your device logged in and it just worked? Wouldn't it be cool if we migrated historically manual IT functions into a DevSecOps pipelines? Wouldn't it be cool if we had a true single sign-on capability? Now, the answer to all of these questions is yes, but how we actually get there is way more complicated than just answering a question. Now, from the very beginning, one of our goals with Global Directory was to create a centralized identity source for the entire department to use, and to do so in an agile development method. However, as we get into the details of delivering said identity, we come to the realization that different applications may not support or function well with web-based authentication methods currently in place. To address this issue, we're developing a new Active Directory for us under the Global Directory umbrella with the sole purpose of allowing customers to utilize Kerberos authentication. One of the key use cases for this capability is to allow pre-existing environments to create a one-way trust back to Global Directory to provide user identity and authentication. This means that organizations can maintain their existing equipment and infrastructure while leveraging the security and identity aspects of Global Directory. Now, you may be wondering what this actually means for any mission partners who decide to migrate to Global Directory for their legacy. Once changes are made within the Git repository, a pipeline takes over,
so that we can take full advantage of generative AI, take full advantage of the technologies that are out there, and apply those technologies to our mission, which I would offer is the #1 thing that is missing across the department and the nation is those individuals who understand the problem sets and understand the technology and can bring those together to produce outcomes. And that's where I need your help from an industry standpoint to bring those together. We will have a J2 intelligence function. The agency has never had one before. It is imperative that for the area of operation that General Nakasone talked about today, DISA has one of those 45 areas of operation. And so there will be an intelligence organization that is solely focused on providing the intelligence needs for the agency. There will be a J357 in charge of ops plans and exercises, very typical of a J357. There will be a J4 that's focused on warehousing, logistics, facilities. That's their sole focus. Right now we have it in too many different parts and pieces, and I would offer we are sub-optimized. There will be a J6 where we're bringing Ms. McMillan's team together with Mr. Ahmed at the Pentagon and bringing those teams together so that if you are getting endpoint services from the agency, it is consistent no matter where you are at in the world. And making sure that from a global service desk standpoint, that it is consistent capabilities, consistent user experience, consistent customer support. We will have a J8 that's focused on requirements and finance. And then Ms. Wood's team in host and compute is our J9. Now there's a little bit of uniqueness there. And then Mr. Martin is leading, although he says I can't say this, I say it anyway, our program executive offices. That is what we are going to, so that where DISTA, the agency, will have program executive offices, PEOs, that are aligned with delivering capabilities. He can correct me later. And then we have Mr. Greenwell, who's, I call it the C-suite, but it's really our enterprise integration and innovation. Our chief data officer, our chief technology officer, our chief risk officer, our chief, you name it, is there that's cutting across the entire agency and organization and bringing those new technologies together to help support. And then we have Mr. Packard. Ditko is Ditko, right? $6 billion worth of contracts annually. And so Mr. Packard is still in charge of that. That's the structural part of it. Mr. Barnhurst, my deputy, is leading our process improvement.
Platforms, and also, will the Global Active Directory allow for cross-tenant collaboration? For example, the ability to be an owner or even see a calendar in the Army tenant while being a member of the DISA tenant, and vice versa.
So the beauty of, and so I'll talk around this one, because this should have, Jim, you should have done this for Gabe, Cyber, JFHQC Air Force, and those part true force multiplier. Because this should have come
to supporting efforts in Ukraine.
Yes. So as Colonel Carnes mentioned, right, the first thing is we set the globe and make sure, because while a lot of regional activities are ongoing, you never know when it could go global in the different parts of the pieces. So we're continually setting the globe and setting those rheostats to make sure that from a security standpoint and defensive standpoint, we're postured well. Secondly, we're working hand in hand with General Kennedy's team as the, I'll say, picture window in from Cyber Command into EUCOM and General Cavoli. So whatever he needs as he's setting the theater for General Cavoli, we are supporting him and making sure that he can set the theater in that regard. The other part is, which I think is the key to all that's happening, is partnerships. And we have continual partnerships with our allies and partners, as well as with EUCOM, as well as with AFCyber, JFHQC Air Force. And those partnerships and being able to share lessons learned, to share information, to share intelligence has been a true force multiplier. And then you add in what you have done from an industry standpoint in bringing that together, that we are constantly involved and engaged with that. So I'd say across the board, there's many things that we are doing, but first and foremost, it's setting the globe for the department that then is in support of General Kennedy and what he's doing in support of General Cavoli.
Thank you, sir. Here's a two-part question, and this will be the final questions. How will Global Active Directory affect organizations that need to be able to connect, disconnect, and resync with the cloud and all classification platforms? And also, will the Global Active Directory allow for cross-tenant collaboration? For example, the ability to be an owner or even see a calendar in the Army tenant while being a member of the DISA tenant, and vice versa.
So the beauty of, I'll talk around this one, because
directory allow for cross-tenant collaboration.
So Global Directory as a service, we're going to tackle the cross-tenant collaboration first. Global Directory as a service only provides the authentication piece for 365. All of your calendar data, your distribution, they'll all live in the cloud with Microsoft. So the single tenant is how you solve that. As far as the DDIL situation,
Oh my God. Oh dear goodness, you all. Can you hear me? That was like, that was really loud. I know everything they're talking about. You all really do. I'm quite familiar with this type of environment. I know of it. How about that? I have some knowledge of it. Now, this is... Oh my goodness, Susan, honey. Let's look. We want to see another person in here. We really do. There's one more person that I've never seen, and it is this one right here. It's the Cybercom official speaks at. He's 13 minutes. I've never seen him. I think it'd be important to listen to see what he got to say. Of course, remember Sabrina. This is Sabrina. Remember Sabrina? Is that her name? Yes, it's Sabrina. Remember Sabrina? She speaks for the Pentagon Press Secretary at times. Sabrina, honey. Hello. How you doing, Sabrina, honey? She's doing great. See her. She's so happy. Her's a happy baby. Whoa. Wow. Oh, no, no, no. See, we're gonna have to hear what she has to say. So I'm going to mute myself because they got some computers. They got a great big network. It's like Terminator thing. It's like the sci-fi movie. I'm gonna mute myself, and we're gonna have to listen to see what she's got to say.
Farouk, you're the director of the Office of Small Business Programs. Tell me what that office does.
Yeah, so my job essentially is to be the principal advocate for small businesses in the Department of Defense. Small businesses make up the vast majority of our industrial base that provide us with products and services, and we do a lot of business with them. So my job is to make sure that we're creating good opportunities for small companies to do business with us, and we're giving them equal opportunities to compete for federal government contracts.
So I heard you just got back from the Mentor Protege Summit, which I believe was the first one since 2018. What does that summit do?
So it's really exciting. This was the first Mentor Protege Summit that the department has done in 5 years. And the Mentor Protege program is a really important program to support our small businesses because it is a small business developmental assistance program. So in this program, small companies pair with more successful, experienced companies, and they learn how to do business with the department. And they get support from these more experienced companies on how to develop their capabilities, how to get the certifications they need, how to scale manufacturability, and things that are really important for them in order to become either prime or subcontractors with us.
How does the Mentor Protege program, how does it help bring small businesses into working with the defense industrial base?
Well, the most important thing is that the Mentor Protege program helps bring in small businesses from socioeconomic categories. For example, small disadvantaged businesses, women-owned businesses, service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses, and hub-zone small businesses, and also new entrants. So we're really reaching out to underserved communities that have talent, that have capabilities. We're reaching out to companies that are new to the defense industrial base, new to federal government contracting, and we're bringing them in, and we're saying, hey, come do business with us because we want your ideas, we want your talents, we want your capabilities. So for those companies in those communities and in those constituencies, it's a really great way to get plugged in.
So Farouk, there are so many small businesses across the country. If I'm a small business owner and I want to get involved in working with the department, how do I go about doing that?
Yeah, so the first step is to visit one of our 96 Apex accelerators. We have these accelerators across the country that are really the front door to industry, and we use them to help us identify companies, to train companies, and to really teach them how to do business with the department. And look, for most small businesses, it's hard to come to Washington, it's hard to meet with senior leaders, it's hard to get the access that they need. This is our way of bringing the Pentagon to them, so they can, in their communities, understand what the requirements are, how to do business with us, and get access to information and leaders from their local communities. We also set up a website platform called Project Spectrum. Right now, there's a really big concern about cybersecurity risks that small companies face,
right,
foreign ownership control and influence
right,
risks that companies face. We really wanted to make it easy for companies, so we set up Project Spectrum as a platform where they can get the training, tools, tool assessments, and all the self-assessment capabilities they need so they can understand their risks, they can mitigate their risks, and they can do it for free at our cost. So we're really spending a lot of time on reducing big.
Go find more information on it?
Yeah, we did. In fact, we rolled out the department.
So, Sabrina, honey, I didn't know that they had a company, small business company or whatever it is, bringing the Pentagon more or less to the people in the small business world. So, one more, you all. One more. You just bear with Gina, honey. Just one more time. I wanted to get the Cybercom official general. You can see him right over here. And I'm going to mute myself again, you all, but I wonder what he's got to say because this is big time. This is big stuff. Look at him. So we're going to zoom up on him too. He may not be robotic. He may be a regular human. He may be. Okay. So he might look normal. Okay, so we can look at him. Come on now, country boy, honey. You can do it. We can go to sleep. We get sleepy anyhow. Okay, you all, listen. Okay, let's got it. You all, I gotta mute me, or you're gonna have an echo. And you may think that this kid up here, needs to go back to playing video games. No, this is a very, very intelligent young man. Much more intelligent than the people we have. Okay, they really are. Don't underestimate them. Just because they play video games don't mean that they're not smart. They're super intelligent. They really are. Let's get over here. I gotta mute me, and then we're gonna listen to the one admiral. I guess he's an admiral or something. I gotta mute me. I'm gonna unmute.
Welcome for General Nakasone.
So, ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, how about a round of applause for our first responders? So thank you and welcome. So I'm honored to present today's keynote. You know, AFCEA, under Susan Lawrence's leadership, has really set kind of the tone, and we consider today like AFCEA East. And I think we're going to try to brand that as we go forward. But Susan, thank you so much. Thanks so much for what AFCEA does. You know, the nonprofit, member-driven organization that was formed in 1946 during the Truman administration with today over 30,000 individuals in 138 chapters across the globe. And if these statistics aren't impressive enough, their goal is to align technology to meet the needs of our department, the government, industry, and academia. But we all know that AFCEA is much more than just technology. The National Defense Strategy emphasizes partnerships. And AFCEA, well, they've been building partnerships since 1946. And let's look across the crowd today. And you'll see a diverse audience from industry, government, defense, academia. They represent the embodiment of what partnerships truly are. So a flagship participant in TechNet is the DoD Chief Information Officer and his team. Cybercom and NSA's partnership with the CIO's office is fundamental, I would say critical, to our warfighting role. Our collective efforts to defend the nation, secure the DoD information network, and advance technology, I would offer, have no peer. And we are stronger and more secure because of it. I'm proud of the relationship that we've developed. Thank you, John Sherman, and thank you to your entire team. Additionally, today I'm honored to be presenting the St. Isidore Awards this morning to 5 exceptional individuals. We know that talent and people transcend technology. It's our competitive advantage. And recognizing talent today is just as important as tech and cyber discussions. These 5 leaders have demonstrated the highest standards of honor. And to look at our partnership with the cyber operator, and it is for an operations provided intelligence should not be hasty, but rather deliberate and thoughtful.
Good afternoon. I hope you all
Are using GFUD, you'll be using this.
Be on top of our game and focus on cybersecurity.
We're working that, and then other internal things. We're relooking at our strategy, right, of our 5 LOEs and the actions within and under those. And then resourcing as we get into the 25 POM. All these 4 together are coming together so that we have consistency and synchronization between structure, process, strategy, and resources. That's the first thing. The second thing, as I mentioned earlier, was Workforce 2025. And that's building the foundation of our workforce so that we can refactor, as I mentioned. And then delivering capabilities is still at the heart of what we do. And so Caroline Bean, Crystal Lynn and team. Are delivering IL-6 collaboration capability. Those who remember the old Defense Enterprise email days, right? Still have DE. EC out there. But come 31 May, we're going to start migrating off of DEEC into the new environment. A lot of work happened. A lot of work went into making that happen. It's a great work by the team. And I'm looking at Mr. Greenwell because he's assured me that that from a risk standpoint, that we will be ready to go. Capabilities across the board. And I could go on and on, but I think I'll stop there and entertain any questions that you have for me. So thank you.
General Skinner, how are the future requirements that you've described being shared with industry?
Well, first and foremost, we have industry days. We have active engagement with industry across the board at all different levels. This week is a perfect example of where we're sharing the requirements, either through this discussion, through our industry engagements out on the floor. So there's a variety of ways that we're doing this. In addition to that, we're working hand in hand with DoD CIO.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done, you all. I think the AI has the ability to literally put digital makeup on your face and hide your wrinkles. I'm thinking it has the ability to do that. Otherwise, we're looking at some CGI or something. We are looking at some type of artificial intelligence in that live stream. And at the beginning of that live stream, I think he said, what did he say? He said something at the very beginning when he was talking. I'm trying to see what he said. Let me see. I don't know what he would have said. I have no idea what he said, you all. It doesn't matter. It matters that a great big cybersecurity event is taking place. We got troops going on to the southern border to be there by May the 10th, and which is not unusual because something is expiring, something called 42. But with the advancements of technology and stuff like that, and it's whatever country can get to, can y'all hear me? Whatever country can get to the forefront of artificial intelligence, they're going to be the ones who rule the world. So all the countries are in a race to harness the artificial intelligence because they want to be on the top of the world. They want to be in control. So this is an intelligence arms race, really, technological race for intelligence. It's very, very interesting. AI is a massive part of our world now, and it's going to become even a bigger role. It's going to become the biggest role. It is. It's going to supersede the humans. It is. So thank you all so much for listening. This was kind of exciting. You thought maybe think, Gina, honey, that was so boring. That was so boring, Gina. Why do you show us that, you all? Because I want to know what's going on in the world. I didn't know they had stuff like this going on, you all. I did not. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boy, bad boy. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Nobody now give you no break. Policeman give you no break. Soldier boy give you no break. Policeman give you no break. Bad boy, bad boy. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Oh, it had a nice little tune to it. I loved it. That's right, Tamra. That's right. My son loved listening to that when he was really little. I remember him listening to it. Where were we at? I don't know where we were, but he loved it. It's a catchy tune. Susan B. Honey, thank you all. Thank you. If there's any other moderators, you all, thank you so much. I wish we could all sing it together. Bad boy, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? They're gonna come for you. They're gonna come for you, you all. That's right. They told us what the bad boys are gonna do. That's right, they did. Oh, you're so welcome, Sarada Amaru. That's right. I didn't know what was going on, but I do know what they're talking about. I have a little bit of insight. So do some of you all, too, if you're techie. I'm not really techie, but I can understand certain types of jargon. That's right, you all. We're going to do it. We're going to go. But it was really exciting. I like to zoom up and look at their faces. I didn't want to zoom up and look on his face, see his eyes looking. I wonder if they can do that to me. Look, I might look like an AI, too. That's right. I'm going to go. And with that being said, you all, look how many people we got on here, you all. We got a 36 chat rate. We got 4,634 views. You're all doing great. We got 793 people tuning into this live stream because really what's going on in the world does affect us. And what's going on in the United States, we do need to know, even military-wise. That's right. Yes, it's coming out. That's right, Morgan Lania. That's right, you all. We're going to go. We are going to go. We got this. So with that being said, thank you all so much. Please give this video a thumbs up, you all. And that's right. Can't touch this. Boom, 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 boom. That's right. We got it. So with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, I love you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, you all. Thank you so much. Thank you, Susan B. Honey. You did great. And thank you all for your comments. It's wonderful. It really is. It's really nice zooming up like that. Love you. Have a wonderful evening. Love you.